you've come up with your movies and everything's happening. We got to know
Yeah.
that Sardar ka grandson, you've done work, beautiful story, and a lot. But how did you manage to work during the pandemic? Like you were working during the lockdown?
Yeah, so it was actually kind of it was pretty interesting because of course we all know I think that was the first phase of lockdown, the entire country, I would rather say the entire world was going through. And of course we were all dealing in our own ways. And it so happened that my friend, the director Kashvi Nair, who's directed the film, she called up and she said she spoke to me about the film because I had actually worked with her, on a film of hers, a short film which was featured on MTV. It was called Shadi Wadi and Pyar Aur, there was a film, a very cute
Okay.
film she had done. So I had already worked with her, and after quite some time, this happened. She gave me a call one fine day, and she said that there's a film I'm doing, and because of the pandemic, I mean, I think it was much more challenging for someone like her because she had almost shot the entire film before the lockdown happened.
Okay.
And she did she said that but some stuff is still left to be shot. And of
Must have
course,
been like a constipated
yeah,
movie.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it was for a director, it's pretty much challenging because the director is actually the captain of the ship, right, of a movie. And so she said that she was in the situation where she's almost shot the entire film, but part of the film is still left. And in the meantime, we had to get started with the work for the background score. So this was the time when the lockdown was kind of cooling down a bit. And so I had, uh, I think it must be post September or something last
Okay.
year when
Like around this
things were
time when you
getting a
first
little.
cooled down. Yeah.
It was getting better. It was still not completely there, but obviously, we were all very careful and concerned, trying to be. So till then, I was pretty much trying to work from home. I had my little setup, small setup at home. But it has its own challenges because working at home is always different. It's great to be with your family, but being in the studio, like a space like this, it's like you want that isolation, right? At times, that is also an
And the
essential part of.
pandemic and the lockdown must have been sort of a boom ki अच्छा है दुनिया बंद मेरे को छोड़ो.
And no, as in for quite some months, even I was not able to come to the studio because we were all stuck at home. But then at some
Okay.
point of time, I had to come to the studio because there was already another film that I was working on, which had to be finished. And things like background scores and all, you need more. Um, I had to be in my studio with my instruments and all around, and I was not able to deal with that being at home with my limited
You must have
things. So
there must
so
have been a
I
sense of helplessness. Like you don't have your tools with you.
Yeah, it is kind of because in the studio I have all my instruments, and it's the facility, the writing, when I write music, all the things are laid down here. I have to
One
just sit
second,
and
hold
start.
on.
I am just joining you with another device. So
No
yeah,
worries.
basically coming back to our discussion, uh, being in the studio is like, I have all my instruments around, and I can, it's easy to do the music writing process because I have to just be here and start ideating and start creating music. And obviously there is the much needed isolation also at times, which is so essential.
Like you
So
must have created your perfect ecosystem over there.
it's kind of I have all the instruments, and yeah, it's like when you work, you kind of create that ambience, when you have a place which you dedicate, that it kind of becomes it becomes like uh, you kind of tend to I don't know how to describe it, but it's like when you are here, you're already switched to that creative part of you. You just
That is like your comfort zone, your bubble of work where it's just
yeah,
you who exists and no one else.
like you being in the cockpit of a plane, and you have to just fly it. It's that feeling kind of thing. So
Okay.
yeah, it's we kind of the film, the work pretty much started around that time, which is kind of post September, and it was challenging because generally when you're working on background scores and all, the director wants to come and see the film. So we had to be very careful because of the pandemic and all, right? So taking care of all the precautions and it was a very unique experience because generally what happens is when you're working on a background score, uh, after you have done your music, there is a theater mix that happens. So you want to
Okay.
go and you want to monitor how things are going on. But it was pretty unique in this case because uh, it was very risky, right, to travel and to go in different. So we have to
One
be very
person,
careful.
one person gets affected with the virus, he or she could possibly
It is,
affect the entire
and
crew.
everyone's responsible because even the director. So they had by the time also loosened up, things
Restrictions for
for
later. Yeah.
yeah, like for shooting, and also she had to even finish the that little bit of remaining shoot that she was supposed to do. So that was happening, and then I was talking about Kashvi. That was happening, and then I was uh, obviously working on the background score, and there was pretty much of a remote control, way of working going on.
Okay.
Uh, so I think it was a unique experience. Even the theater mix when that was happening, I had to be we had to be very much functioning in that that remote control kind of a setting because it was not very safe, right, just to be physically going
It
everywhere.
must
And
have been a different anxious, like the pressure in the back of your head, ki there is a possibility I might get the virus. What next? And how did you
yeah,
maintain your
it's all
creative stream with that?
you kind of miss that physical presence and that physical touch of being somewhere, physically being somewhere in the studio and hearing your mix and how it's sounding. So even what when the film was getting mixed in the mixing stage, we had to ask them to send us the mix so that I could hear it in my studio. And but I think overall it was a very unique experience, and I think also we had a good time. And Kashvi is a she's a very she's an amazing person as well. So very comfortable to work with. And as I said, we had already worked together earlier.
Okay.
So it was a pretty much of a we just cruised through the entire experience, and yeah.
It must have been a feeling where like the entire world is stopped, everyone's on a lockdown, and there is so much of chaos, and you are still creating something like.